Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This video is part 6 of my F1 2020 MyTeam Career mode, and as you can see, we have a brand new car. I thought it was perfect timing. We're going into the Spanish Grand Prix, and that's when everybody brings their aero upgrades and everything in real life. So we decided to change the look of the car, and I think it looks pretty damn sweet. So we're keeping to the roots of the black and white, but we've also thrown in a bit of red, as I did think the black and white did get a bit bland, but without further ado, I can't wait to see this car out on track, and just hopefully the Spanish Grand Prix is good. We had a brilliant race out in Zandvoort on Saturday. So yeah, let's keep that momentum going, and it's time for the Spanish Grand Prix. So here we are in qualifying. We had a great race out in Zandvoort last time. We didn't qualify as we had gearbox issues, but we come through for an excellent P15 after a safety car period, and we fought through and took advantage of every opportunity we had. So let's try to do the same in qualifying. So now as we head out onto track, we're going to be going for our first run. We're about 3 minutes into the session. As you can see, we're slingshotting out the final chicane and go through the flat final corner, which is very, very fun to drive. This car is much more manageable than it was at the start of the season. We're much more confident with the car, we can chuck it into the corners, but as you can see here, coming through to the end of the first lap, we are being a bit tentative into this final sector, as we just need to get the time in. But as we come through across the line, it is going to be an absolutely fantastic 1:17.5. But there is a caveat. We are 1.2 seconds behind Louis Delatraz, so there's obviously some time to find, as he has set a 1:16.7, I believe. So there's time to find, as there always is. And my first runs aren't that great, as there are some cars that I haven't set times yet. But now as we come through to start our second run, we've got loads of time to gain. We've got about 1.2 seconds in the pocket, as Delatraz is showing off. So we've got to try to take advantage of this, and coming through, you can see now, we're going through the final sector now, going through the final chicane section. We're definitely attacking it a hell of a lot more, getting on the power much earlier, and we are actually 5/10 up on our time, which is absolutely great. And it comes through to be a 1:16.9, which is only 2/10 off Delatraz, and we actually have one more run left in the session, which is mind-boggling. We're actually on the pace for a change. So we've got time to gain on Delatraz. One thing I should note is that we do have a very worn ICE in going into this race. I was meant to change it, but we're running with it anyway, and hopefully doesn't bog us down too much. And we're having loads of engine changes going into the next race, so we're not down on power, as it is evident in this race. And even though it is not a heavy power track, we do have this long straight, which is not the best of scenarios to be down on power. As you can see here, going through the final sector now, we are attacking it a hell of a lot more than we have in previous laps. So we've just got to make sure we don't overcook it going into this final sector, and just attack it with absolute confidence in the car that it's going to stick. And it absolutely has. It's been absolutely flying. But as we come through across the line, it's going to be a 1:16.780, and that is ahead of Delatraz into P16, only one place away from being into Q2. But there is quite a big gap between Q1 and Q2, as there's about 5/10. So we're ahead of Delatraz without qualifying our teammate, but it was a bit of a weird qualifying session, as there were loads of drivers that didn't set times, as we'll see in a second. So Romain Grosjean, Nicholas Latifi and Kevin Magnussen, both the Haas cars and Latifi didn't set times. So that is probably positions that we would have lost otherwise, but without a doubt, we set our times, we got it in, and we are ahead of those cars. So there's no point dwelling on what they could have been, but now we're ahead. So going into this race, I'm fairly confident in the car. We can push it a lot, so hopefully we're not miles off the pace, and we can attack those ahead and keep ahead of the Haas cars, which are one of our rivals. But now, as we're going through, it's time for the Spanish Grand Prix.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Can we talk about Mercedes? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez and Lando Norris, Ocon, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi and Stroll, Raikkonen, the Professor, Louis Delatraz and Nicholas Latifi, Grosjean, Magnussen, Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So as you can see here, we are on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. We have been bumped up one position as we are ahead of Pierre Gasly, who has got a 10-place grid penalty for engine changes. So now, as we look into the strategy, it's going to be an easy one stop. It's going to be a sort of mediums to hards as we fuel up 34 laps of fuel. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this race and get stuck in and hopefully have a great one. So as you can see here on the grid, Kimi Raikkonen is ahead of us with Lance Stroll directly ahead, and it is 5 red lights. And it's where we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. We get a pretty decent start, much better than Kimi Raikkonen's, but our engine power deficit is definitely showing as Louis Delatraz does pull alongside of us. 74% on our ICE as Nicholas Latifi behind us is sizing up a move. But as we go into turn one, we send it down the inside of Lance Stroll, and it's absolutely brilliant stuff. We're up into P15 in this race. We're still battling for position, going 3 wide into his second part, but now going down the inside of Lance Stroll. We're jockeying for position, but we don't quite have it, as he has got the better car. He can stick it around the outside. Oh, so we do have a bit of a look down the inside from a very long distance back. I did actually outbrake myself there, but we nearly had a move. But as we sent it down the inside once again, we just don't quite have we're not quite alongside enough to be able to have the move of Lance Stroll. So now as we're going onto this back straight, and we're going down the straight, overtake enabled, not rich mix as we're trying to save a bit of fuel, but as we're very far out, we have a very massive lunge going down the inside of Lance Stroll, and we get this move. We squeeze him out to the exit a little bit, but that is absolutely brilliant stuff. We're up into P15 in this race, and we've got the 2 Alfa Romeos ahead of us, so we've just got to press on, try not to lose too much time, and keep ahead of Lance Stroll. Delatraz is the next car behind Stroll, so for Slimmo Racing is a P15 and 17 in this race. So it's been an absolutely great start so far. As you can see, we're down on power, so we're going to be struggling. As you can see here now on the main straight, lap 3 in this race, Lance Stroll is behind us, and we're going to be struggling on tyre temperatures as well in this race, as our front left tyre isn't very loving it too much. As we head on to directly the next lap, 75% IC, but Lance Stroll goes for a move, DRS open. We just don't have any answer for that. It's down the straight. He's got the Mercedes power unit, which is much more powerful than our Renault power unit, so we've just got to make the best of it. He's got the straight line speed and we don't. We've got to live with that. So now Louis Delatraz is the next car on lap 11. Not much really happened, but he sent it down the inside, and we do actually let him through as he has much more pace in this race. And with our worn engine, it's just not worth holding him up. So we've let him through. We're 109 degrees on the front left tyre, and yeah. So the next car behind is Nicholas Latifi and Romain Grosjean. As you can see, we're on P13 as cars ahead have started to pit, and now on lap 13 here now, we do decide we want to box. We're pitting 1 lap earlier than what we would normally do. We're normally pitting on lap 14, but our tyres are overheating. So we decided to hop in early. Hopefully the hard tyres aren't as bad for overheating, as we can just deal with it, basically. It's a harder compound, so it will have much more higher tolerance as we leave the pit exit in last place. But obviously there are still cars yet to pit in this race. As I said, we are on a one-stop strategy, so we've now just got to press on and try not to lose as much time and lose as little time as possible on this outlap, as there will be cars pitting on the directly next lap. As we see here, Romain Grosjean is exiting the pit lane right ahead. He has actually jumped us, which shouldn't be really much of a surprise with that Ferrari power unit and being a somewhat power track, as he has pulled ahead of us. So now we've just got to make the best of the situation and follow him around, hopefully keep around long enough for DRS, but that is highly unlikely, especially with the Haas being a much faster car. So here we are, lap 24. Not much really happened in this race. Aside from Grosjean, everyone just pit as normal. As you can see here, Bottas getting past us as we are now a lap down in this race. been a pretty uneventful race so far. We've not really been having many battles, as the next car's behind us, Nicholas Latifi, which is 2 seconds. So now going down this main straight, Charles Leclerc goes past us, and Max Verstappen is the next car behind. And unlike Zandvoort, we do decide we want to let him through. There's no point holding him up. He's not in our fight. And the longer we hold him up, the longer we hold ourselves up, and Nicholas Latifi will close in and be able to attack us later in this race, which is exactly what we don't want. So now lap 28 here, we have a Red Bull behind us, Alex Albon. We decided we want to go to the right hand side and let him through, but he has a bit of a mistake, and it means he's a bit late on the scene, which means we have lost loads of time. And we're battling him, actually, going side by side into this chicane, and he's been a bit slow getting past us, and that means we are right behind him, and we do have DRS luckily, otherwise we would have been very vulnerable to Nicholas Latifi behind us and both the Williams cars with their Mercedes power unit. As you can see here, Nicholas Latifi has closed in, he's got DRS, he's going for a move down the inside, and we're both holding up Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, which is very, very unfortunate for him. He's caught it at such a bad time, and even though he is the works car, down the straight, he cannot compete with the Williams with the exact same power unit. So now, we've just got to deal with it. Nicholas Latifi is right behind us, and we've just got to hopefully keep him at bay and make sure we don't lose any positions, as Magnussen has got past Russell for P19 in this race. We are currently running in P17 with Delatraz in P16. He's been having a much better race. He's got much more pace than me around this track in the race, and he's just able to do it as we let Vettel through down the inside. He goes down the inside, and we are now right behind him. We did try to have a bit of a push to try to keep DRS, but the Ferrari is just ridiculously fast. But going through the final chicane now, we are coming through for P17 in this race, which is very good, very good. We only lost 1 position in this race, and that was to our teammate. Brilliant stuff.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Fins have we had now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed, and a good job in traffic as well.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So overall, it was a pretty uneventful race for us. We maintained our position and then lost one to Delatraz, which is not too bad. It means neither of us have got points yet in this season. But yeah, nothing really happened after the pit stops. We were holding people up a bit behind us, but other than that, nobody was close enough to make a move down the straights, which is very unusual, as normally we're getting mugged on the straights. So going into the next race, we will have some new power units, as we're low on wear. So as we look at the rivalry breakdown, we maintain our 4-point gap to Nicholas Latifi, and that's absolutely great. We're ahead, and that's all that matters. 3 races remaining, we've just got to keep that up. Our team acclaim does go up, but not quite to another level, as level 10 is the next level we can get another sponsor. But our personal driver acclaim is up to level 3, which is absolutely great. So that means we're going to be able to attract better sponsors and all that. So as we get our money inflow from our sponsors, we get a very handsome 300k, and then plus 75,000 for the entire race weekend. So that is a very, very handsome 400,000, and we're now up to 3.3 million, which does mean, that we can upgrade one of our facilities. So we got our durability upgrades and all that, but we can upgrade our facilities. But first, we've got to assign activities for this race for the next race, as we do decide we want to have the aero team building as one of them, as it means that we only lose a little bit of money, but it doesn't negatively affect morale of the other departments. Same with power upgrade. There's nothing wrong with that, and we get more resource points and team morale, but it doesn't affect anyone else. So now we get the driver promotion filming. That is going to be plus 100 driver acclaim, and that will again get us better sponsors. And now we do decide GeForce training, as that will improve Delatraz's racecraft. So that is a great set of activities and helps the team out greatly. Now we can upgrade the power unit, the facility. We're going to get the fabrication, which means we can make 2 at once, and once that will go up to spec 1, and once it goes up to spec 1, oh boy, we can upgrade, and we haven't spent any resource points, you'll have noticed, and that will mean we'll have some massive engine upgrades coming for the car. So that is everything for today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for videos every Tuesday and Wednesday. Don't forget to press the bell icon, and everyone have a great day. Bye bye.